Okay, so today is actually Friday and it is November 18th. On Wednesday, I guess I was rushing the week along. And yesterday all day, or at the end of the day, I thought it was Friday. So, um, it was a little disappointing this morning to wake up and realize I had to work. Um, anyway, Nancy Pelosi has stepped down from leadership of the Democratic House committee, whatever House, whatever leadership. She's no longer the leader of the Democratic Party in the House. She's not going to be Speaker anymore because the Republicans have taken that over. And yesterday she announced that she was going to step down from her leadership position. And it's time for a new generation to take over. So I hope that they are sincere about that. I hope that's taken to heart and that actually is a new generation and they don't elect someone as speaker to be, elect a leader to be, some 70-year-old codgety white guy. Jeffries from Brooklyn seems to be the lead contender for the leadership spot, which would be great. He's a little more on the progressive side. It would be good to see some younger people in positions of power. It is just remarkable to me, though, that these boomers are greatest generation. I guess they're greatest generation if she's 80, right? No, she's in her 70s. Anyway, it doesn't matter. She's too old. They just latched on to leadership positions across the board in politics and everywhere, so that Gen Xers really have never gotten the opportunity to fill in that spot. So at this point, it's like, no, now we're going to get passed over for the generations that came after us. So that's a giant slap in the face. But we're Gen Xers, so it'll be like, so what? Whatever, we'll move on. We're a roll with the punches kind of generation. Make it up as we go along. So I was hoping that Nancy, in addition to saying that she was going to step down as leader, would also announce that this would be her last term in Congress. Representatives only have 2 years before they have to campaign again, and it would be nice to let some new blood start to gain some traction with constituents back home. So, the nice thing to do would be to say, I'm not going to run again, and let a whole new generation of people that are looking to fill those shoes start socializing themselves as those candidates and get their constituents familiar with them. I think that should be true, like, across the board. Dianne Feinstein needs to retire, like, immediately. Chuck Schumer who just won re-election for another 6 years in this midterm, by a small margin. It was only like 57% of the vote against, I don't even know who he was running against. I never saw an ad. I have no idea who the Republican was, but almost 50% of the state voted for his opponent, whoever that was, which is pretty sad in the state of New York. But he should announce that he's done. This should be his last term. Let somebody else take the reins. Pat Leahy in Vermont is like 104,000 years old. He needs to go. I like anybody who's going to hit the age of 80 in their current term needs to go. We should have an 80-year-old cap. Not that I think that there's anything wrong with being older than 80. People are live very vibrant lives into their 80s, but you need to let go of the power. You need to let someone else take over, and go enjoy yourself. Play a little golf. Go lay on the beach, or start a new business. Do whatever you want when you're 80. Just don't be in charge of our laws. Anyway, so there was a nice moment in her speech where she very pointedly said that she was very proud to have worked with 3 presidents. She worked with 4. And then spoke about specific legislation from from Obama and from Biden, and clearly throwing some shade by omitting that Trump ever existed. Oh, that was fun. Anyway, so Kevin McCarthy has kept the leadership of the Republican Party for the House, but he has to get the full vote of the House to become the Speaker. That's going to be tricky. Um, I don't really understand this logic where he's saying he needs, and Amy Alyssa Farrah Fowler Griffin was talking about this, I think yesterday, that he's listening to the 30 or so real maggots in the party, and taking sort of a hard line in that direction because he needs them. It would make more sense to ignore them, um, because he, he's a Republican. Like, who do they think that they're going to get better than that if they don't vote for him for Speaker? What he should be doing is taking a more moderate tone and trying to attract some Democrats so that he can get his full complement of, what are they, 218 votes. Because if he loses some of the maggots, then he's got Democrats to, and that would be a much more, show an example of bipartisan work, blah blah blah. But instead, he comes out, and what we were supposed to have learned out of the midterms is that people are tired of all this rhetoric and all this craziness, um, and they want a government that works together. They are not interested in the election deniers and all the sort of crazies that spin all these conspiracy theories. So, and the Republicans ran on fear about inflation, gas prices, economy, inflation, gas prices, prison reform, never having an answer for any of these things. So what does McCarthy do? He goes on Fox News to say this is our agenda, and the whole agenda is, investigating Hunter Biden, and and investigating COVID. Where did it come from, honey? we're no longer assigning blame, right? We got our vaccines, we're living with it, we're doing it. You got to move on. It's not like COVID stormed the Capitol and tried to kill the vice president and the Speaker of the House, but that you probably don't want to investigate. So there's it's a huge deaf ear that he's now just going to go and start attacking everything that has to do with the Democrats, not even paying attention to the fact that you're not fixing any of the things that your party ran on. You're not doing anything about the economy, about inflation, about gas prices, about prison reform, about what happened. It boggles my mind. And then these people will continue to vote for him. It's like, yeah, you get him. Oh. So this is going to be an exhausting couple of years if this is what it's going to be like. And I really feel like people that have representatives, whether they're senators or in the House, that are behaving poorly, whoever is in McCarthy's district, they should be calling the senator's office or the Republican or the representative's office constantly, write letters. They have to record all that stuff, and they have to record every voicemail. Tweeting isn't going to help, and complaining to your neighbor isn't going to help, and putting it on Facebook isn't going to help. Although I did put on Facebook yesterday all the Republican senators who voted no for the Respective Marriage Act, but then I said very specifically, I know a lot of you people that live in these states. Do you agree? Did your senator vote the way that you wanted him to? If not, call the Senate. Here's the number to the switchboard. And that's like, you got to hold these people's feet to the fire and put some pressure on them to stop being assholes, because apparently that's their fallback personality. So that's frustrating, but we'll see. I mean, it looks like it's only going to be 219 to 217, so that's the tiniest of margins. And I still don't know what happens if, if a couple of Republicans fall off the House and their seats are vacant. Do they still have a majority? Um, who knows? But, you know, and everybody's so freaking old, there's probably somebody's going to die. And on that note, have a good weekend.